The odor has created some controversy. What does it smell like?
Yeah, there you go.
So, there's a little argument going on. I think it smells like a big decomposing mammal, like a rat or a dog or a horse. Other people say, no, it smells like a dead fish.
Yep.
I just read an article of a team that went to Sumatra to study these, and they found one open, and they said it sort of smelled like a fish during the day, but then later it smelled like feces. If you look at the chemicals that have been analyzed that come out of it, there are chemicals that you typically get when you have rotting cabbage, rotting fish, and dirty socks. So if you mix, and I think a little onion,
Yeah.
sort of like a fine wine. Not. So if
Many
you
flavors.
mix those together, what you get smells like a Titanarum. I think it's very difficult when we want to identify something relative to something else. We stretch the definition. What does turkey taste like? Can someone tell me?
Chicken.
Doesn't taste like chicken. Do you think anyone here could close their eyes and not tell it's turkey and not chicken? No. What does lamb taste like? Does not taste like beef. I've eaten alligator. You want to know what alligator tastes like? I'll tell you.
Alligator.
No. Snapping turtle. You know what snapping turtle tastes like? Alligator. I mean, come on. We want to make everything, we want to ground everything in some common experience, and we stretch the imagination, I think. And the other problem is with odor and taste. You know how suggestible you are? If I take a glass of wine, you're a wine drinker, and I sniff it, and I smell it, taste it, and say, this is wonderful, try it. You'll try it and say, oh, that's good. If I take it and make a face, taste it, make a face, say, this is nasty, taste it, you won't like it. So it's very difficult. If you, red and white, we can define colors based on their wavelengths of light. But color is different from odor and taste. It's a very personal experience. You look like a pretty flower.
If you have any questions, we're trying to rotate people through here. So take pictures, come on up. Well, once it collapses, it'll collapse and rot off, and then there'll be a hole in the ground, and the corn will be down in the hole. Then I'll take it back to my greenhouse. It'll spend another year or 2 or 3 putting up a huge leaf, and then it'll collapse. Yeah. And then hopefully it'll bloom after that. So leaf, bloom cycle. So, the purpose of the middle is, well, not really. The whole concept of this is the world's largest unbranched inflorescence is the concept. What that means is this is not actually a flower as such. The flowers are down inside this little thing here. These are female flowers down in the bottom and male flowers above. The purpose of all of this is to draw pollinators into those flowers. The reason being, the day this opens, those female flowers are receptive. They're ready to be pollinated. But the male flowers are not making pollen. So the day it opens, it's ready to get a pollinator. But that pollinator has to come from a plant that opened yesterday or before and fly into this plant on the day it opens. The second day, this makes pollen, and the female flowers are no longer receptive. So it's to the advantage of this plant to send that stench, if you will, as far as it possibly can, to draw the greatest number of pollinating insects in the hope that those insects will have pollen with them when they come in here.
And the pollinators would go down to the top because you wouldn't have a nice little...
No, they'll go in here, not through this.
This is normally wide open. When it's at its peak, this was 40 inches across. And the insects go down, they wander around inside, they find no free meal, because that's what they're expecting. They wander around inside, find nothing, and because they're not terribly bright, they'll fly out and fly into another plant and do the same thing again.
It looked like this yesterday morning.
Yeah.
It was this.
That was 40 inches.
40 inches.
And does it only open for one day?
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes a lot of energy to do that. The trick is, the reason, for example, this was kind of rare in captivity, if you will, is it took 10 years for this one to bloom the very first time.
Wow.
because it's storing up energy each time it puts up a leaf. A leaf looks like that one right there. That is a single leaf. That is not a tiny tree. That's a single leaf from one of these. It stores energy underground in a corm, and when the corm gets big enough, and only plants know how big that is, then it'll bloom. But when it blooms, it's using the energy in that corm to shrink back down again to make this flower. So then after the flower, it puts up another leaf, it stores more energy, and if it stores up enough energy during the lifetime of that leaf, it'll use up the energy.
Okay, if
We need to
you've got a
put it
chance,
over.
we need to rotate some more people, because we're closing.